Welcome to part 3 of this 1985 Suzuki GS450 top end rebuild. In the first two parts, we've rebuilt the head, honed the cylinders, installed them back on the bike, got them torqued down, and ready to go from there. In this segment, what we're going to be doing is installing the camshafts and setting the timing on the chain. Show you how to do that, and then we'll also rebuild the chain tensioner, cam chain tensioner, and install that. Show you how to get that done. So I hope you're enjoying the series so far, and let's just get to it.
The first thing we've got to do before we put the cams on is to get the timing set right. You want to get the right cylinder up at top dead center. So you pull the little timing cover off on the right side, and you'll see that it's got the right cylinder marker here. You got a T, and then you got the top dead center mark here, and that lines up with this. Okay, if you look on the other side, the number 1 cylinder should be showing, if I can get it in focus here, top dead center, or in line with this here. All right, so bottom line is just get the right cylinder up at top dead center, and you can see that spot on there. And to double check it, all you need to do is to just look to see if the cylinder is up there. It's up at the top, and you can see that it is. Okay, so we're ready to put the cam on then. Just to show you on these cams, give you an idea of what we're going to be working with. See if we can show here. On the cams, there's some arrows. This is the exhaust cam. It's got the tachometer drive here, but there's some arrows. This is number 1, it's marked, and this is number 2 right here, marked there. What'll happen is we're going to put it on the chain so the number 1 is flush with the top of the cylinder head. I'll show you how that goes in. And then on the intake cam, there's another arrow. And where is that arrow? There it is. All right, we're going to count the number of links, and that'll line up with this here. Okay? Easy to do. You just have to take your time and make sure you go through it. So to get this thing going, first thing we'll do is we'll put some lube. Bearing lube. I just squirted some oil, but I remembered I'll put some assembly lube on these bearing surfaces. On here. Take the cam, run it through the chain, and just put it in there for now. All right. So I can take this wire off and give me free movement of the chain. So first thing we want to do is find out where the arrow is. And there's number 1 right at the top. I don't know if you can see it on the thing, but it's pointing right up here. So we want to get this so it's pointing even with the top of the case up here. So I don't know if you can see, but there's the arrow, and it's pointing directly to the top right here. So this one is good. So now that we've got the chain set on the front sprocket or the exhaust, let's put the intake in. We've got the arrow, I don't know if you can see, is right here. So we want to know where that's at. So we just want to get it up in there for now and just rest it up here. I forgot to put some assembly lube on the bearing surfaces. So what we have then is we need to take up some of the slack, count 18 pins on here, and we start with the first one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Look at that, I got it right on the first one. We'll put it in there. I'll double check the count. So, got, there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Excellent. All right, I already forgot something, and that was to put in the front chain guard here. So, but not a big deal. I'm glad I remembered now instead of after everything was all put in. Gotta drop it in between the frame here. This section goes towards the front. And there we go. He sits there like that. Put it back in. And it looks like I've got it goofed up. Yep. Must have slipped the cog on there. So what I have to do is pull this up, move it up down one position. It's laying flat. You can see the timing chain. You gotta double check all this before you screw everything down. And let me count the ways here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then this one is off 1. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, so we're good now. All right. So we are all set to batten down the camshafts and torque down the bearing caps. Alright, what I'm going to do is find the bearing caps, get them ready to go, lube up all of this with the assembly lube, and double check the count on the chain. Once you get this thing battened down and everything, the last thing you want to do is the chain to be off. You'll get bent valves, it'll backfire or won't run at all. It's a mess, so just double check this when you go through it, but we'll start putting the bearing caps on. So what I've got going here now is I've put all sorts of lube and assembly lube on this. I've got the bearing caps snugged down. Make sure that you've got them all right, A, B, C, and D on here. Make sure your tappets are all seated on the you know, your tappet shims are seated inside the tappets, and everything's ready to go, and you can start torquing these down. Like I say, I've just got them snugged down so they don't pop up, but on this bike it's 8.5 foot-pounds, which works out to about 103 inch-pounds. And the only way you can really use that is in a 1/4 inch wrench, because a 3/8 inch wrench, it's just too much to handle on there. Yep, let's do this one in front of the camera, but just snug them down a little more, a little bit at a time. Here, click, and click again. All right, this one's torqued down. I'll do the same for the other 3. Just take a minute to go over the chain tensioner. This will keep the chain tight inside the cylinders as it's running, and you'll obviously need to put this back on. And it's not hard to put on, but you know, maybe if you understood how it worked, it might help you get to that. This goes into the cylinder bore, and this is what keeps the chain tight. And you can see that, you know, it's got this spring that'll keep it under tension. Give me an idea how this is put together. And if it's sticking, take it apart and clean it up on here. Basically what you've got is this rod in here, and this rod goes up and down in the bore, and this screw will rest in here and keep it from popping out. So get this set up when you install it. What you want to do is to push it all the way in. Turn this counterclockwise. And then tighten this down so it holds it like that. And then you'll bolt this on to the cylinder. New gasket and everything, obviously. And then once this is all bolted down, what you'll do is you'll open this screw maybe a 1/4 of a turn, just so it hits that stop. And then you'll want to tighten this down here. Make sure you've got the screwdriver on there so it doesn't go. And that way it's going to be given the correct tension on there. Okay? Simple to put in, but it's a critical part of it, because otherwise that chain will be slapping around on there. And make sure it's nice and lubed up, free flowing, so to speak. Not much to it. Okay, next we need to put in the tach drive. Don't want to forget this. It's easier to forget all these little parts. Okay. Just going to put the plugs in quick. Just keep crap from falling into the cylinders. And then just going to set the valve cover on here for now, just so crap doesn't fall in from there. There we go. I can start putting on the rest of this stuff. Chain tensioner on. I use this stuff, Permatex Ultra Copper, between the gaskets. Had to cut off the end of the tube because I failed to sealer property, and I should be able to get enough. Anyway, it all dried up, so this is what I'm doing now. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. So spread this stuff. What's nice about this stuff is it doesn't dry per se. It dries, but I mean, you can peel it off, which is nice, and it's a very high temp gasket sealer. So we put a new gasket on there, and put some more on here. It'll seal it up nice. So I'll get that put on. I'm mounting the chain tensioner. And you may or may not have noticed, but I took the carbs off. Doesn't pay to be lazy, I guess. Okay, that is on. So let's loosen that screw. Like I said, we were going to. Get a wrench. Okay.
I don't know where Rich is calling from, but yes, you will.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this segment. This was part 3 of a 4-part series. What we've got done so far at this point in time is redoing the cylinders, the heads, and installing the camshaft, the chain cam tensioner. What we're going to be doing in the next part, the final part of this series, is we're going to be installing the exhaust carburetor, tighten up the wiring, and just start buttoning up the bike and see if this little puppy will start. So hang in there for the last part, and I promise we'll get you through this.